Alright, my name's Mac. I am refuting Rosalind's claim of fact speech. Her major claim was that whole grain food is a compound that is essential to good health. Her secondary claims were that whole grain is natural and whole, providing many vital nutrients. Also that whole grains help prevent chronic disease. And her third secondary claim was that a whole grains diet promotes weight management. The problem with her speech is that she didn't present an argument. It is pretty much common knowledge that whole grains are a good part of your daily diet. It's been on TV commercials for cereal. It's been presented in school when you were growing up, like in the food pyramid, that you need to have whole grains in your daily diet and things like that. According to Brock Reedy's model as well, her speech does not meet the criteria. She doesn't try and change our minds about whole grains being good, since it is already common knowledge that they are beneficial. She provides a rationale why we should believe that whole grains are good, but again, it's not needed. And she doesn't really give us two or more choices for the argument. It's just that they're good and this is why. I also did some research on different whole grain foods, and for example, off of the Albertsons website for online shopping, I found that a loaf of Oro wheat whole grain bread is $4.59 plus tax, whereas opposed to Oro wheat regular white bread is $2.39. And I did a little bit more research and found that Barilla Rotini is $1.59 for a box of regular or a box of whole wheat pasta, but the box of whole wheat contains 3 ounces less, which according to the National Pasta Association is about a serving and a half. There really is a National Pasta Association. I can believe it. It seems made up. It's legit.
You can go a little more.
It was the highlight of my research, actually. I also looked through some of Rosalind's evidence that she used in her speech, and according to the first source in her bibliography, it's an article from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that's titled Dietary Patterns and Breast Cancer Risk in Women Participating in the Black Women's Study. People on the West Coast, so in case you're not very good with geography, that's us, have a diet that prefers sweets, processed meats, and refined grains. So that means that we tend to stay away from whole grains in our diet, but as far as I know, we're still healthy and not dying because we're not eating as much whole grains, and we are able to get whole grains through other sources. There are multivitamins, there's different types of diets, etc. I'm incredibly short on time, but that's all I've got. Thank you very much for listening.
All right, Mac, you had a little bit of a difficult time here because you're basically suggesting that the argument you're responding to is an informative presentation rather than an argumentative presentation, and you come up with some good criteria to explain why that's the case. I like the attempt to use the Brock Reedy model and take particular examples there. I thought that the best argument that you had was the way the burden of proof is being shifted by the advocate on this particular point. That aside, I think there are some declarative claims that you could make that it would be a lot clearer. You went to the trouble of doing research on the costs of the breads, for instance, and how much more the whole grain pasta is, at least in terms of servings. You know, you're paying more for the whole grain if you're just paying by the serving. So what does that mean? And it seems to me that that means that people are making a choice on what they consume based on factors other than health, and there's nothing that's going to alter that or change that, and that's an important issue. At the end, when you're making the argument about the West Coast versus East Coast preferences, and we consume more of one thing out here than the other, I said, okay, that's a good setup point. Where's the follow-through that shows that there's no significant difference in mortality rates, or the longevity is relatively the same on the East Coast versus the West Coast, you know, any of those sorts of things? I think that's the follow-up information that you need to develop a little bit more. And then also, maybe, since you did say that you know, the nutrients are available in other ways, I think that's something that you could demonstrate, that people can continue to eat processed foods and enjoy the taste that they prefer, as opposed to, I mean, I got to be perfectly honest, a peanut butter sandwich on whole wheat bread, that's disgusting. You know, it should be on white bread. Now, a tuna sandwich on whole wheat bread, that's perfectly fine. You know, that works for me. You know, but it's a matter of preference here, that people are making a decision about what they like and what they want to spend the money on. The question is, does that then have an impact on their health? And I think that you could point out that there are other things that people can do for their health to benefit. I'm sorry you like the wheat toast or the wheat bread for your PB&J. All right. So, I mean, I think you made okay arguments. They just needed to be, there's more that you can get out of them than you did. All right.